What happens when championship organizations build for sustained excellence? They make moves that others overlook. While the baseball world obsesses over blockbuster trades, the Blue Jays just executed the kind of calculated roster management that separates dynasties from one-hit wonders. This isn't just a waiver claim. It's championship architecture in action, and the timing couldn't be more strategic. Hello, Jays Nation. Welcome to Jays Quick News, your go-to spot for the latest Toronto Blue Jays updates. Fresh off their historic 2025 World Series run, where Clement set a postseason record with 30 hits, the Blue Jays are proving they understand something crucial. Championship windows stay open through smart depth management. Today, we're breaking down their claim of 26-year-old infielder Ben Cowles from the Cubs, and why this move is smarter than it looks on the surface. But first, if you want every Blue Jays roster move analyzed with championship context, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's dive in. Let's start with the big picture. The Blue Jays had an open 40-man roster spot after placing Bowden Francis on the 60-day injured list following his Tommy John surgery. Francis will miss the entire 2026 season, which creates an opportunity rather than a crisis. Toronto could have left that spot empty or grabbed any generic organizational depth. Instead, they targeted Ben Cowles specifically, a 26-year-old with elite defensive versatility and proven speed tools. The Cubs had just designated him for assignment to make room for reliever Shelby Miller, and Toronto pounced immediately. Here's what makes this brilliant. Cowles comes with 6 years of team control and still has minor league options remaining. That last detail is crucial, and we'll get back to it. Who is Ben Cowles? He's a player who's been passed around like a hot potato. Yankees to Cubs in the Mark Leiter Jr. trade, briefly claimed by the White Sox, back to the Cubs, and now in Toronto. But here's what front offices keep seeing: a switch-hitting infielder who can play second base, shortstop, and third base at an above-average defensive level. He's recorded double-digit stolen bases in each of the past 4 minor league seasons. That's not luck. That's a proven skill set. His 2024 season at AA showed legitimate offensive upside, .286/.372/.457 with a 141 WRC+, a 10.4% walk rate, and just 17.7% strikeouts. Yes, his 2025 numbers at AAA dropped to .235/.300/.371 with 9 home runs, and his strikeout rate jumped to 28.8%. But context matters here. The jump from AA to AAA is one of baseball's toughest adjustments. Many future All-Stars have struggled initially at that level before figuring it out. Now here's where Toronto's front office deserves credit for 4D chess. With Bichette now in New York with the Mets, the Blue Jays infield has been completely reimagined. Andres Gimenez takes over shortstop, where he proved capable during Bichette's injury absence in 2025. Clement moves from his World Series hero role as super utility to becoming the everyday second baseman. Kazuma Okamoto anchors third base after his high-profile signing. Addison Barger shifts more toward corner outfield duty. This creates a fascinating situation with Leo Jimenez, who's out of minor league options at just 24 years old. If Jimenez can't win a roster spot in spring training, he'd have to clear waivers to go to AAA, and Toronto would risk losing him. Enter Ben Cowles, who still has options. The Blue Jays can send Cowles to Buffalo whenever they want without exposing him to waivers. This gives manager John Schneider maximum roster flexibility throughout 2026. Let's connect the dots on what makes this move so smart from a championship perspective. The 2025 Blue Jays reached Game 7 of the World Series partly because players like Clement, who was once designated for assignment himself, became difference-makers when given opportunities. Clement hit a record-breaking .411 in that postseason run after being claimed off waivers years earlier from Cleveland. Sound familiar? Toronto is building depth the same way championship teams always do, identifying undervalued players with specific tools that fit organizational needs. Cowles brings speed that creates havoc on the base paths, defensive versatility that provides late-game options, and controlled cost for 6 years. If his AAA struggles were just adjustment period growing pains, Toronto gets a valuable bench piece or trade chip. If he doesn't develop, they cut him loose with zero financial commitment beyond league minimum. That's textbook risk-reward optimization. What this really signals is organizational philosophy. After losing Game 7 to the Dodgers in 11 innings at home, the Blue Jays could have rested on their success. Instead, they're attacking every opportunity to improve margins. They're not just filling a roster spot, they're stockpiling controlled assets with upside. Multiple teams showed interest in Cowles despite his AAA struggles, which tells you evaluators still believe in his tools. Toronto is betting they can unlock what Chicago couldn't, and they're doing it with house money since the Francis injury created the roster opening anyway. This is how you sustain championship windows, making low-cost, high-upside moves constantly while your core is still in their prime. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just came off 29 postseason hits himself. George Springer remains ageless. The rotation features Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, and emerging star Trey Yesavage. Add smart depth pieces like Cowles. And you're not rebuilding, you're reloading. Bottom line? The Blue Jays just demonstrated exactly why they reached the World Series. Smart, aggressive roster management that creates competitive advantages. Ben Cowles might not make headlines, but this is championship infrastructure being built one smart move at a time. So here's my question for Jays Nation. Do you trust this front office's talent evaluation after seeing what Clement became? Or do you think Cowles is just organizational filler? Drop your take in the comments below. And if this breakdown showed you why the Blue Jays are building something special, smash that like button, subscribe to Jays Quick News, and hit the notification bell. The Dynasty timeline is just beginning. Let's go, Jays.